Now we're speaking.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear us? On Zoom, can you hear us? He's very chatty. On Zoom, can you hear us? Some signs of life. What? A chat. On Zoom, can you hear us? I don't think this is going to change. Great. I think someone is saying that you can hear us. You can put something in the chat also.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, we got a thumbs up.
But can you hear you all? That's the most important.
You'll always
You
be
can
able
see him. You can totally see him on the screen. Yeah, I see.
So much to say.
Thank you. I'm having a translator.
I can't wait until I actually know what he's saying.
Listen, you don't want to know.
I do.
I'm a few years ahead of you on parenting. I'm telling you, you don't want to know. Enjoy this one. Way easy.
Yeah, wait till you have to pretend like you care. That's always my favorite. Yeah, it goes on and on and on.
I'm telling you, enjoy this one.
There's that, and then there's
Ask your mom what
you realize what George is doing to me. So you have that covered.
Okay. Hi, Samantha, everyone.
Yeah.
We're going to begin on I don't know what page because I didn't find it in the prayer book. We don't have books, so that's true. You don't have books.
Well, we can go on.
I mean, we can wing it. I know that way.
Well, okay, but at least I think you know these words.
You begin on page. Let's make the book first.
Slowly, enunciate every word.
We begin. Actually, while the books are being passed out, take a look at the beautiful new artwork that's being done this year. This is the Ushti Zine, which we'll talk about a little later, but it's just gorgeous artwork to look at. It really makes this sukkah special. Nice. Not every sukkah has this kind of decoration.
And Mara, did your class make any of these decorations at any point?
Yeah, they made all the discs, the
The
CDs.
CDs?
That's
CDs?
probably 3 years ago.
Whose CDs were they that you covered over?
We went to Construction Junction and just picked a whole bunch up and decorated. Can you repeat page number, please?
Yes,
I don't think we
I
gave
don't
you a
think
big
actually never announced it.
Okay.
Page 120, and Mara, will you come up and light the candle?
So that's 120 using the black numbers. Those of you using the flip, who might be using flip books at home, 384. Yeah, you're gonna want to come over here. Yeah. I don't know if we have a lamp.
I know.
Yeah.
I think you might be able to sports thing.
Exactly.
I'm not sure if you're ever gonna use my-
Amen.
Oh, it's a lot of books.
May these festival lights open our eyes to the joys in life, beauty that delights the eye, freedom to be ourselves, the knowledge of Torah that shapes our moral being, the heritage of celebration that unites us as a people. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, for giving us life, sustaining us, and enabling us to reach this season.
We'll sing the Hebrew after Kiddush on page 122 or 386. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'am v'romanu mikol ha'shon v'kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'atitan lanu Adonai Eloheinu da'ava moadim l'simcha v'hagimu zmanim l'sason. Et yom ha'sukkot hazeh man simchatenu mikra kodesh shefer v'tzilat Mitzrayim. Ivanu b'sata v'elkanu kiddushto mikol ha'amim u'modei kodshecha v'simcha u'chasam simchatanu baruch atah Adonai mekadesh Yisrael ve'hazmanim.
And on the next page, Baruch atah Adonai, hello.
Give me a second. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'achiyanu v'kimanu v'hidiyanu b'zman hazeh.
In the middle of 125, which is 389 in the blue numbers. Tonight, let our shelters be strung with the finest fruits of creation. Love, fertility, prosperity, wisdom. Let us promise to feed the hungry. Let our harvest bring peace. We continue on the next page. No, 2 pages, I'm sorry. Chatzi Kaddish 128, 392.
Yitkadash v'yitkadash Shemerav Yalmad Yifrach v'yirteh v'yamlich malchutei v'chai Yisrael Amen.
We turn the page to 130, 394. Invite everyone to rise in body or spirit. Something tells me we are not doing a traditional Sukkot melody. It's a hard one. On page 133 or 397 at the bottom, we continue. The colors of early evening sky blend and deepen. Let's do this together. The colors of early evening sky blend and deepen, allowing new lights to be seen, twinkling through the branches. The promise that in darkness, new light will be revealed. Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'ma'ariv Arabim. 130. Please be seated. On 141 or 405, we continue together in the middle of the page. Doubting is but the forefront of faith, a faith in the infinite growth of an unbounded creation. A doubting age is one of restlessness and discontent with what is current. A doubt is an idea that is still alive. The doubt that the past has uncovered all things is to express faith that many things are still to be uncovered. The doubt that we have grown to our full stature and knowledge is to express faith that we may develop into beings of such power and dignity that we cannot as yet imagine what shall be. Continue on the next page.
Page 145 or 409. There belongs and understanding of love, where peace and friendship be our shelter from my soul. There belongs and understanding of love. Baruch atah Adonai, habrei sukkot shalom aleinu v'al Israel v'al Yerushalayim.
Amen.
Page 146 or 410. In the middle, Vaydaber Moshe et Modeh Adonai el b'nei Israel, and Moses declared the appointed festivals of Adonai to the people of God.
And now we turn to page 204, which is also page 468. We invite all who are able to rise either in body or in spirit as we join together. Traditionally, the evening Amidah is done silently. What we'll do is join together for Adonai Sifatai out loud, and then we'll go silent from there. And we'll pick back up again on page 209 in a few moments. With the special blessings for the evening. So we join together. On the top of 209, we join together. Your might, O God, renews the earth with dewdrops of light and blessing, that the earth be illumined and blessed. With dewdrops of joy and delight, that the earth rejoice and sing out. With dewdrops of life and well-being, that the earth be revived and improved. With dewdrops of redemption, that the earth be redeemed. Livracha v'lo liklala, v'chayim v'lo l'mavet, v'sova v'lo l'razon. For blessing and not for curse, for life and not death, for abundance and not want. We turn ahead to page 215. We continue in the middle of the page. One does not travel to Jerusalem, one returns, one ascends, the road taken by generations, the path of longing on the way to redemption. One brings rucksacks stuffed with memories to each mountain and each hill. In the cobbled white alleyways, one offers a blessing, the memories of the past which have been renewed. One does not travel to Jerusalem, one returns. And we turn ahead to page 227, and we join together in a prayer for peace. before the gate has been closed, before the last question is posed, before I am transposed, before the weeds fill the gardens, before there are no pardons, before the concrete hardens, before all the food holes are covered, before things are locked in the cupboard, before the rules are discovered, before the conclusion is planned, before the closing of God's hand, before we have nowhere to stand, bless us with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch et Amo Yisrael, Shalom.
It's page 307. Those of you who are here, you can look at the book for a little bit, and then we are going to take some time, if you'd like, to wave the lulav, also to say the blessing for being in the sukkah, which we do not have up. It smells so strong, even through my mouth. Okay, so the blessing for being in the sukkah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher yishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu asher b'achutah. And then the blessing for the lulav is in the middle of the page. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher yishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu asher Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechiyanu v'kiyamanu v'hidiyanu l'zman hazeh. Hold it together and shake it in all 6 directions. Up and down.
Up and down.
Okay.
You can leave it not strong, it's strong enough to stand.
So it's north, south, east, west. And south, up, down, and up and down. Okay. You're like, I don't know which way is north. Yeah, that was my thought. Okay, so right, left, forward, back is also possible, and up and down. Just watch
I
out.
was waiting for somebody to do that.
Kelly, you need to have eyes. I know you're the
Bernard, you have to look back.
The left and then right?
It doesn't matter.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Cool. Everyone's had a turn? On Zoom? It's a cleaning kitchen. It's like a clean kitchen. Yeah, you can see that.
It's like a one piece.
Kate said it smells like a clean kitchen.
It does.
It absolutely.
Mr. Clean with Metro.
So if any of you are at Costco, I think they still have a citron honey ginger jam.
Oh, that sounds yummy.
Yeah. So citron is etrog. So it's basically an etrog honey and some ginger jam. You can like spread it on toast or put it. They also recommend like putting it in hot water, and then you've got These amazing. They come in like jars this big.
Everything in Costco comes in.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true,
cool.
but it's so good. Actually, I put it in Hamantashen last year.
Ooh.
Which was really tasty.
That sounds delicious.
So Eileen Lederer is the one who designed these new posters.
Not these.
Not these two, the Ushpizin. These two are Israel. First one is Israel, land of milk and honey, and the second is the species. Eric, you already know what those, more tell us what those different species are. Who's Hebrews with? Pita? Yes, and you
Okay.
know.
Richard, what's pita?
Because I never learned English. Like, at best, it took me forever to realize that's alfalfa, right? I never learned
Wheat.
wheat or grain.
Yes, yes.
All right, so Ronald,
Or seorah is barley.
Geffen,
Right?
great, good.
Te'ena,
Big.
fig.
Limon,
Pomegranate.
pomegranate, good. Eric,
Eric Zech Shemen, Zeit, what's Zeit?
Olive oil. I'm giving him a chance. Yeah.
And Bash,
Honey.
honey.
Exactly.
So the honey, by the way, comes from the tamar plant, which is also, doesn't that come from bees? This plant?
They have something to do with it.
No.
Date honey. Oh.
Yes, so it's date honey.
All right.
And the lulav, the centerpiece of is the date. It's from a date. Not a staff. It's a honey, not a staff. It is they call
No, it's derived from the fruit.
right.
It's not a sap. It's derived from the fruit itself.
You can
It is to the
yeah,
fruit
you
what
can buy
olive-
honey.
It is to the fruit what olive oil is to an olive. I think that is that.
Yeah,
that's
well,
their-
you squeeze it a lot and all it's on.
Essentially,
Yeah.
you do one of two things with dates. You do three things. You either just dry them out and then rehydrate them and sell them as dates. You chop them into date pieces, which I was told you never really want to do because you don't want the sausage, you don't want to know where it came from. Or you smash them and end up with this date honey or date jam, depending on like molasses, depending on how you process it.
So then the 7 new pieces of art are the Ushpizin, the guests that we welcome into the sukkah. There, in the tradition, unfortunately, there were 7 men. In the modern world, there are 7 women attached to them. And so each of these posters sort of bring them to us. So the first one on the top, you'll see the name Abraham.
Well, at the top you'll see
Chesed, right.
the Kabbalistic era, the emanation of God that the people are associated with. So Chesed is at the top, and then look at the pictures. Who are they? I mean, yeah, Rabbi Feldman already gave away one of them. He's in one with you. Oh, so this far one. Who are these people? Who are these here?
I will be cheating.
Abraham.
Yeah, so Abraham and Sarah, we've got Abraham with his tent and Sarah with the cake that she makes for the strangers. I thought it was a jello.
It might be.
And you can also sort of tell that she's pregnant. She's got the white hair too. What? She's got the white hair too, so she's
Right.
pregnant. So she's old and she's pregnant. Okay, Gura.
Strength.
So Miriam, right, with her tambourine for timbrel. And who was saved by a ram? Isaac,
Right.
yes, so that's Isaac.
This is actually really interesting because the tradition does not generally see Isaac as a man of gvura, a man of strength. In fact, tradition views him just the opposite, as a very weak, wounded man, except in this circumstance, except when he is listed as part of the Ushpizin, when all of a sudden his image is completely rehabilitated and reimagined, and he comes out as strong man.
I like that.
Yeah, there's a really interesting spin in that whole thing.
Okay, then we've got Tiferet, beauty. Who has a ladder? Jacob. And then what woman might have scales of justice under a palm tree? Devorah.
But I don't see a honeybee there, which is
I'm looking at who's going at most point of yours. Modern education is fantastic.
I always thought Jacob's ladder was a little bigger than that too.
I hear you. Oh, you know what? I wanted to turn this around so that maybe. Okay. Netzach. Victory.
Who brings the Israelites to the cusp of victory? Moshe, right? Right at the edge of the promised land. He's holding the
You
tablet.
see him with the tablet and the mountain behind him.
And who did we read about at Rosh Hashanah who finally gets victory that she wants? Finally achieves Hannah, the victory of being able to have a child.
And you can see a pillar from the temple behind her. Okay, Hod,
Above Kate.
glory. Okay, so who's got a head dress and a breastplate and
Looks like the
super
Pope.
colorful clothing?
Which one?
not the Pope, but who is
It's
the Pope
not pious.
based on? In Jewish tradition,
No,
Aaron, the
Aaron.
high priest. Yeah, I was listening.
the breastplate's interesting because the breastplate's got the 12 stones for the 12 tribes.
And then who is
The card player.
and chess player? Who's the, really the question is who's the strategist? I think that's what.
So who's that one?
If anyone gets this, I'll be really impressed.
Or you could read it.
Or you could read it. Yes. And what?
It
It's
is
not
not
Esther.
Esther's a really good guess.
I thought it's not Sarah. He already had Sarah. We can just start naming names.
Ezra and these ones.
Nope, actually, so Rivka, Rachel, and Leah are not part of the Ushpizot.
Nope.
Okay, who reads Hebrew?
Abigail.
Abigail. So you were right.
Well, that's why I said it.
Right.
But he can
Once
read.
I stood up and I'm reading them, I'm going, oh, this isn't so hard.
So Abigail was an interesting character. Her husband was not supportive of David and the Israelites, and she was really good at the strategy and put everyone in their places so that David could achieve victory. And her husband ends up dying.
To be differentiated. To be differentiated with Bathsheba and her husband, who also ends up dead, but for very different reasons. Next one over here. Yosef.
Yes, we've got Joseph with his colorful jacket, the sun and moon, and the sheaves of wheat, or the bunches of wheat that are bowing down to his bunch of wheat. And you also see him with his divination cup.
And who's the one with the cat? Who's the cat lady?
I think that's a weasel or a ferret.
Trying to be generous.
That's a really long cat. No, it's a weasel, I think.
All right, so who's the weasel lady in Torah? In Tanakh?
Who?
Give us a little bit more.
Okay, she also is the one who verifies that the scroll that King Josiah finds is in fact the teaching of God.
Which is why she's carrying a scroll in her hand.
Yeah.
She has a cap on her.
No, that's Frank, I think you're standing in the, although I don't know that you can actually see it clearly enough on Zoom. Okay, Huldah. Huldah the prophet, the prophetess.
Anybody know anybody named Hilda? My mother was Hilda. That's the way they come.
I never made that connection. Okay, and the last one, holding the harp.
David.
David. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Huldah and Joseph are Yesod, foundation. And then Malchut is sovereignty.
So David is the king, the harp.
And who's the other famous sovereign?
Esther, there you go. And what's Esther got in her hands, and what's at David's feet?
So Esther has the Talmud, and in the it's the Talmud, but the tractate Megillah.
Right. Which is the section of Talmud that debates and discusses Megillah Esther and how to understand Purim. What did David choose?
A griffin.
It's not because David part of Gryffindor, but why? So what's the Griffin connection? I have no idea actually.
Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one.
No, I have no clue. And I couldn't tell you the weasel one either. Both of those.
Well,
two.
so who does Eshet Lapidot? So I think that's where the weasel comes in, but Esther's also holding a squirrel, and I don't entirely understand that either.
Jezebel. We're exactly where we left.
These were made by Eileen Lederer. Josh Lederer's mom. And they were commissioned by someone in New York, some biblical scholar in New York. Or let me rephrase, some scholar. And they were in a book. And then he made posters out of them and sent these to her. They're beautiful. And she donated them to us.
So the idea of Ushpizin, though, is one that's worth savoring. So the tradition at Sukkot is that each night when we sit in the sukkah with our family and our friends and enjoy time together, we also at some point bring these guests into the conversation. And so whatever our conversation is, at some point we turn on the first night and say, how would Abraham have understood this? What would Sarah say about this? Right? So if you're a baseball fan, give me the Jeffersonian versus Hamiltonian view of baseball. You want to take a swing at that one?
I don't even know the word.
Jefferson believed in land, right? Jefferson was all about the field and the green open space. Hamilton believed in the people. He was all about the stadium and the people coming together. That's how the two of them. It works, right?
Yeah, I learned the Einsteinian version. It's this notion of the set piece of time. It's the 9 innings. It's the 3-3-3, and it's ever the same. You can't alter it.
And Heschel would then go with how it's connecting us to every single other baseball game.
So what would Abraham say about baseball? Right, but this is actually part of what Ushpizin is. It's pick whatever issue you want to do, and then say, okay, how do we bring Abraham into this? What can Abraham teach us? What does Sarah's life give us that opens up a new window, right? And so, I mean, the baseball thing we can stretch as long as we want to. There's a limit as to how many extra innings we can try, but I think we've already struck that. But there are wonderful ways of playing with it. So in the modern world, what would Abraham and Sarah do with the pandemic? Here, Abraham and Sarah were two people who opened their tents up wide, right? They welcomed strangers in, they welcomed guests. How would they have handled the pandemic?
they would have had their pods.
But they opened up their pods consistently to other people. So how do you do it, right? So each night you pick another group and bring them in. One of the things that we've done in my family is had each of our kids pick somebody in history that they wanted to bring in each night. And so we've had all sorts of things. We've had everything from Sandy Koufax to Melissa's father, who died before Melissa and I ever met each other. And so then it's a conversation about, so what would Sandy Koufax say about the state of baseball today? Or what would Papa Chuck say about this? Or, and it's just a really interesting way to sort of bring people who aren't with us physically back into a conversation with us. And as opposed to a memorial service where we grieve the loss with Yush Pizin, we're celebrating who they were. And we're saying, come on back into the conversation. Let's bring you back. And to the extent that we can, let's breathe some life into it. Which is part of the joy of Sukkot. It is being able to pull us all back together after the high holidays to give us time to breathe again. Be. And we've gone through all of the heavy lifting of accounting for ourselves and accounting for each other. And now it's time to connect and to listen and to be together. And so there is beauty in Yush Pizin, and there's beauty in modernizing it and bringing it to the current world. And even if you don't have a sukkah at home, take a stab at it this week. When you're sharing a meal with somebody, try this and see what it feels like. It's a really profound experience. I don't know if we can hear us from there.
Oh, Rabbi Perman said that Hulda is Hebrew for weasel.
Oh.
Hulda is Hebrew for weasel. Did your mom Hilda know that her name was Weasel?
I
Think of how you could have used that.
Is that what he's going to use in the conversation in the sukkah?
I don't know that you want to go there.
No, and then the middle name didn't help because it became Germanic. Hilda Irene. So the only thing is my mother would not look good with the Viking thing in the opera. She was a slight woman. It didn't work.
So tomorrow morning services are at 10 a.m. over at Rodef. We'll be meeting and praying together. Next week, Simchat Torah will be here at 6 o'clock. And then the next morning, Yizkor and Aseret services will be at 10 o'clock here. Tomorrow, Rabbi Bisno is speaking. A week from now, I'll be speaking. Tomorrow, you're reading Torah, right? And a week from now, Rabbi Henry will be reading Torah?
I think so. We'll probably have more than one person reading Torah because it's
Right, it's Rashid and Doreen. So that's what's going on with Sukkot. Feel free over the course of the coming week to get lunch or dinner or breakfast takeout and come over here and enjoy a meal in here. It's open. I'm sure we can get tables in here relatively easily, but by all means, feel free to use it. For study Wednesday at noon, we're going to try to do it in here. We'll see if that works. Evening meditation with Rhonda Rosen, I don't think it's going to be in here. Yeah, it is. I think that's it.
And Intro to Judaism is starting on the 30th. So if you or anyone you know would like to take the course, be in touch, or you can register on our website. Oh, that's the other thing. It's the same night. That's why I keep forgetting it, but then I remember because it's the same night. RAC PA is launching the new campaign on the 30th. Lynn, do you happen to know what time? I want to say 7. They usually do it at 7. I think it's 7.
I believe it is.
Okay.
If anybody needs the link, just let us know. We'll resend it out.
Great. Yeah, so RECPA is our social justice arm, and in particular, the Pennsylvania social justice arm of the reform movement. And the campaign this year is about gerrymandering and access to voting. So making sure that preventing partisan gerrymandering, so that
All right,
Yes. Yes. Okay.
let us return to our prayer books, 322 or 586. That's the big version. We invite everyone to rise in body or spirit as we join together in our Alleluia. We turn ahead to 334 or 598 for the words of Warner's Kaddish. Are there any names to mention this evening? We join together as a community. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shmei rabah. Yelmad yivrach v'yirtei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayeh v'chol beit Yisrael. V'agalah v'zman karim v'yivru amen. Yehei shmei rabah v'barach v'yalam v'amei amaya. Yivarach v'yishtabach v'yivahar v'yivramam v'yisrael. Yitzadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei l'kudsha v'rekhu. Le'elam yinkol b'yachata v'shirata. Tushkachata v'nechemata. Da'amiram de'ama v'yivru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yivru amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav. Luya aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yivru amen. May God grant comfort to all the bereaved among us. We stay together. Amen. And we conclude on page 400 or 664 with the words of either Peter or the Birds or Ecclesiastes, depending on your version.
Everything turns, turns, turns. There is no Jesus, turns, turns, turns. And the heart is turning, Let's time to be born, let's time to die, let's time to play, let's time to see, let's time to do, let's time to do, let's time to know, let's time to be. To everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And the heart under heaven. I try to go, I try to be, I try to go, I try to see, I try to be, I try to be from embracing to everything turn, turn, turn. There is a season, turn, turn, turn. And the time for the faithfulness under heaven. Let's not to build your hope, let's not to return. Let's not to bear, let's not to war. Let's not to capture with you. Let's not to restore to
The mask.